Are you dealing with a narcissist? This is a question I get asked all the time. In fact, my last webinar virtual event, a woman asked me that. So, how do you define a narcissist? How do you define narcissism? And my answer was sort of cheeky because it's like, well, you could Google it, you could chat GPT it. If you really wanted a diagnostic checklist, boom, 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 there's ways to get that you don't just have to plumb me or someone for it. So I think a more relevant question, because this is not like the deep dive of personality disorders. This is all about trying to rebuild your life, trying to help you grow. Like that's the mission I'm on. I don't want to just like drown in diagnostic level stuff. So I think a more useful, productive, self-empowering question to ask is basically reflect doing what they can't do, right? So they can't introspect, they can't take accountability, they can't actually sort of ask hard questions within. Hopefully you can. Hopefully you can. So a better question to ask is looking at yourself and how you have sort of operated and interfaced and changed with them. So what do I mean? So over the course of time that you've been with them, have you been getting more confused, more turned around, kind of spending like I would have to spend hours on the phone with a friend, unpacking, analyzing. So for every 1 hour, this is one of my classic telltale signs. For every 1 hour of interaction with someone, suspected narcissist, suspected highly problematic child, adult child, um, for every 1 unit measure of time, 1 hour of time, do you then have to spend 2 or more hours unpacking, analyzing, chatting with the friend? Well, maybe it's sort of my fault because I was having a bad day. If you're spending a lot of time trying to like just sort of give them credit or try to find ways to explain it in any sort of universe other than they are the problem, they did it intentionally, whether unconsciously or not, they did something that's sort of negatively harming you. So I think the biggest thing that you have to know, and then this is how you can free yourself from wondering, okay, are they a covert narcissist? Are they a this? Are they a that? The main thing is, how is that relevant to your life? Like, how is that impacting your life? Okay. So as time goes on and you're with this person, is your confidence going up or down? Is your sense of self worth going up or down? Right? Is your sense of vibrancy, just overall optimism in life, zest for life, like all everything that you want in life, is it going up or down? Or with the camera, it might be going like this for you, left or right. So that's what you want to pay attention to. That's the main question, right? And that's how I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, am I dealing with someone who higher level is not, I don't want to function with, I don't want to work with, I don't want to be with, I don't want to be in a relationship with. That's how I would know. That's what I've come back to time and time again. And that's what you can do. So there's a few things that go on. Number one is you have to be aware of, you have to take temperature checks. So how can you take temperature checks? Well, you can have friends and family who uh, care about you, who notice like, gee, I'm really noticing that you're not as blah blah blah. You're not as motivated. Like if you have people reflect it back to you, that's one way. You can journal. You can. I try to take daily snapshots or weekly or even monthly. I do. That's a whole separate video of like daily, weekly, monthly. Like having some way to self register um, how you're doing and noticing the trends of going up or down. Right? It could be mold. Like, is it the mold? Is it the weather? Is it seasonal affective disorder? Is it because I'm stressed with work? Is it because I went back to eating gluten? Right? So there's always things going on. There's always confounding variables, and those can be valid. Those can all be important, but relationships drive the ship. Relationships are really the big ticket items. And if you're a smart person, you want to look at the 80-20. What's the 20% of the inputs that cause 80% of the outputs? So relationships are that 80-20, where one person, one relationship, as you know, if you're watching this, can torpedo your life, can tank it, can really drag you down. So you want to have, what do you need? You have to have ways to build the awareness of your trend lines, of like how you're doing over time. And then that way, once you have the awareness, you have the heart. Like all this stuff comes down to really hard, simple pass fail. Since you've been in relationship with them, as time has gone on, like what has happened to you, right? So first step, we have to have ways to build that data, build that awareness. Then the second piece is actually admittedly infinitely harder, which is you have to do something about it. You have to like, this is where the self-love and the self-worth, and this is the hardest part. This is the real crux of the work, which I help people with. I have ways you can get, there's, we'll do a separate video on how to heal and like, but this is the crux of like, now that you have the awareness and you've asked these hard questions, and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that your confidence has gone down, your self-worth has gone down, your happiness has gone down, your motivation has gone down, your sense of humor has gone down, you're laughing less, your overall spirit, zest for life. I'm just thinking of everything you possibly want. Like your energy, your heart, your soul, it's like they are energy vampires. They drain you. They suck it out of you. They try to like gobble it up for themselves, thinking that it's going to give them what they want. I mean, but it doesn't work. And so the byproduct is you're just drained. And you know this. If you're watching this, you know this. You know the feeling of just being drained, just being like a shell of a human. And it just gets worse and worse and worse, right? So you started wherever you started, and there's always a lower point. There's always the next lowest point until you just feel like a shell of a human. So you want to catch this as early as you can, right? I've had one relatively in a relatively recent chapter. I caught it a little bit earlier, right? I'm like, everything was starting to go down, everything was going down, but it's like, you don't want to wait. So improvement, if unfortunately you're going to run into these people in some shape or form, hopefully you don't then repeat over and over, 5, 10, 20-year relationships, just, but they're going to come up. And the whole thing is you want to catch it earlier and hopefully do something about it. So yeah, the main question to ask is just what happened to you? What happened to you over time? And just think about that, right? Like how are think, and if you won't do it for yourself, do it for someone you love. Do it for your kids, your best friends, your family, like do it for someone like you can't show up in the world. Like this is what I'm saying is the hardest part of like the self-worth. Like you have to fight for you. So now you have the awareness, you have to do something about it. We all unconsciously, do I deserve, whatever, like you have to find ways. And I can't do it on YouTube video for 2 minutes because that's like the real work. But a quick sort of throw you a bone lifeline is, can you do it for someone? And by it, I mean, can you stop this bleeding? Are you willing to stop this bleeding for what? For what's the cause? if the cause to save your own life, because it will destroy your life. So if the cause to save your life isn't good enough, can you do it for showing, like, you're not going to be a good parent, friend, family. Like, you can't be the person that you want to be. You can't pour from an empty cup. So anyway, we're trailing off into new topics. I get long-winded, but the main question to fulfill the promise of, are they a narcissist? Are you dealing with a narcissist? Here's a better question: what happened to you? That way, you don't have to. You don't. It doesn't matter what the hardcore diagnostic level, which is very hard to do. And they're not, and they are never going to show up and be like, I'm prepared to be diagnosed as XYZ. Like, that doesn't happen. The partners, romantic partners, they end up having to be the ones to sort of diagnose it. And of course, the person you're dealing with is not going to be like, oh yeah, good point, I am a horrible, like, so it's tricky. All you have to know is, independent of any sort of formal diagnosis, which you're probably never going to get, and you don't need. All you need to know is, how are you showing up? How is this person affecting your life? And then once you have that answer, and you see the clear, we're at the bottom. Titanic ship is dropped, dead in the water, dead. At the bottom of the ocean. That's where you are. What are you going to do about it, right? So the whole script with the algorithms and everything, the whole script is looking at them. We're visual creatures. I understand it. I'm one of the people who sort of play to that game of, like, we're trying to understand what we see and what we're looking out at. But if you really want to, if you want to go one level past that, and you really want to benefit your life, it's not just about trying to understand what you're looking at. You have to understand yourself, and you have to understand that, this is draining the ever living, you know everything out of you. So there's your question. Pay attention to yourself. Mindfulness, ways to check in. And once you know everything that you want in life has gone down, boom, there's your answer. You are dealing with someone that you do not want to be dealing with. That is the bottom line. Thanks for listening. Do the like and subscribe if you like this stuff. Helps me. If you want more of this, if you want different topics, let me know what you think would be most helpful, in the comments, all that good stuff. You've heard that stuff a million times. Thanks for listening. Over and out.